Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things that how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is: could the addition of Kyle Lowry to the Clippers make the Clippers? Could the addition of Kyle Lowry make the Clippers the Toronto Raptors of the West? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro community, and also be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com. So anyway, let me get into this video here, this topic here. This is something that is kind of like occurring now to me. I wasn't following this story very closely. So apparently recently, Bleacher Report released an article talking about a possibility of the Raptors and the Los Angeles Clippers making a trade between each other. And I had to go kind of hunt this down, and I saw a clip of from First Things First where they spoke about this. And this is where this idea was kind of solidified. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to this soundbite quickly of them talking about this potential trade and Chris Broussard giving his thoughts. So before I go too far, take a listen to that right here.
Guys, there is a rumor out there that the Clippers, Broussard's Clippers, could make a blockbuster trade to try to go get Kyle Lowry from the Raptors. This from the Bleacher Report. Quote, the Clippers might have a cleaner path to landing Lowry. I think Toronto would want to send him west, but Masai is going to do a deal that brings back the best package. The Clippers might be able to provide both. Broussard, would trading for Lowry push your Clippers past the Lakers as favorites out west?
Well, there are issues here. They don't really have a first-round pick to give up that Toronto would probably want. They got to match the $30 million that Lowry makes in a trade. So you're talking about, I give up Lou Williams, who's having a down year, and Patrick Beverley, fine. But they probably have to throw in Ivica Zubac. They're a small team as it is, so you lose some size. But Lowry obviously has chemistry with Serge Ibaka, with Kawhi Leonard. They won the championship together. He could be that playmaker they need. And when playoff P struggles in the playoffs, as he's been wont to do, then you could have Lowry step up. So I don't know. I wouldn't go ahead of the Lakers yet, but it could make them better and bring them closer to the Lakers and make that series even greater than this.
Now, in that soundbite, apparently that this is something that could be real. Now, a lot of our members on the channel have been mentioning this, but I wasn't aware of it. I was kind of paying attention to other things, so I wasn't aware of this story kind of percolating behind the scenes. I didn't know that this could be this could be a possibility, which had me thinking, if this team was able to pull off this trade, wouldn't the Clippers be the new Toronto Raptors of the Western Conference? Now, before you guys go too far, let me paint the picture. Let me illustrate my thoughts here. So first of all, if you go back and look at that Toronto Raptors team in 2019 that won the NBA title, who was on their starting five? Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, and Serge Ibaka. Those were the three players that they had on their starting lineups. Now, if I can go back to the season that year when they won the NBA title, 2 years ago, Kyle Lowry that season averaged 14.5 points per game. He shot 41% from the field, 35% from the three-point line, 83% from the free throw line. He got you 4.8 rebounds, 8.7 assists, and 1.4 steals. If we look at Serge Ibaka's productivity, I think that season he averaged roughly 15 points per game. He shot 53% from the field, 29% from the three, 76% from the free throw line, got you 8.1 rebounds. Get you 8.1 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and just 1.4 blocks per game, right? And if we go look at Kawhi Leonard's numbers that year, he averaged 26.6 points per game, shot virtually 50% from the field at 49.6% from the field, 37% from the three-point line, 85% from the free throw line, got you 7.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 1.8 steals. So those were the numbers that they put up in the regular season. Now in the playoffs is really what we're looking at, because the Clippers trying to make an acquisition like this. They're really looking ahead to see how they'll be able to compete with the Lakers in the Western Conference and ultimately make it to their first NBA title and go ahead and win it. So let's look at Kawhi's numbers that year in the playoffs. He averaged 30.5 points per game, shot 49% from the field, 38% from the three, 88% from the free throw line, got you 9.1 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 1.7 steals. Those were Kawhi Leonard's numbers in the playoffs. Now, looking at Kyle Lowry, maybe some people are not aware of his playoff productivity. In the playoffs that year, he averaged 17.5 points per game, He shot 50% from the field, 44% from the free throw line. So his field goal percentage and his three-point percentage went up. His free throw percentage was 81%. 8.5 assists, got you 4.3 rebounds and 1.5 steals. And Serge Ibaka, who is now currently on the Lakers, obviously with Kawhi Leonard, that year he averaged in the playoffs, he got you, 8.7 points per game, shot 41% from the field, 37.5% from the three-point line. So his three-point percentage went up. He shot 82% from the free throw line, which is respectable for a center. Got you 5.9 rebounds a game and 1.1 assists and 1.3 blocks. And I think he was coming off the bench at certain stretches. I'm not sure. And during their playoff run that year. So these guys were on a championship team. 3 out of the 5 players that they had on the starting roster, or their starting 5 with the Toronto Raptors, were these guys. Now, think about this for a second. If the Clippers were able to get Kyle Lowry in the acquisition, this was something I didn't think about. Think about this. You now have Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Kawhi Leonard, which are the 3 major components of the former championship team. You now replace Pascal Siakam with an upgraded Paul George, and then you have a Nicholas Batum. So, in fact, the starting 5 of this Clippers team would be better than the starting 5 of the Toronto Raptors team that won that NBA championship that time. Now, the question is, would you, and what I'm hearing is some people are looking at moving Patrick Beverley. The question is, would you trade away Patrick Beverley for Kyle Lowry? And to me, I would do it 10 out of 10 times. I don't even think it's a question here. I love Patrick Beverley for his competitive fervor, for his defense, for his intensity, for his passion for the game, for the fact that he holds guys accountable. He's a straight shooter. We all know this about Patrick Beverley, and I like Patrick Beverley. However, Kyle Lowry, number one, plays great defense too. Maybe not to the level that Patrick Beverley does, but Kyle Lowry plays fantastic defense. He is extremely competitive. He is a competitor. He is a baller. He seems to be very, very reliable. If I go and look at his career here, and I just look at, let me see his regular game. Kyle Lowry plays at least 65 to 70 games per season. 79, 70, 77, 60, 78, 65. So he seems to be available most of the time. So Kyle Lowry's health, because that's one of the issues with Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley always seems to be injured. And for me, I think if you put him at your starting point guard position, now you're cooking. Now you're cooking, and one could make an argument that the Clippers would probably have the best starting 5 in the NBA. If we're talking about balance, having a very good point guard, a shooting guard in Paul George having a 50, 40, 90 season. You have Kawhi Leonard, who's up there with LeBron James, and then you have a Nicholas Batum, who's a serviceable 4, and then you have a Serge Ibaka, who's a shot blocker. Now, something to pay attention to. If they were to make this trade, if you lose Ivica Zubac, you're going to make another. They're going to have to make another move to pick up somebody else, pick up another 5 before the trade deadline on March 25th. That has to happen. You can't lose like a Ivica Zubac, and then all of a sudden say, okay, we're good. No. You're going to need a backup to Serge, because if Serge gets into foul trouble, then you're in jeopardy. Especially when the Clippers are going to be playing against some talented teams. They have some talented big men like Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, and these other guys, and other guys out there. So they would definitely have to make more moves. Obviously, what Chris Broussard pointed to about salaries would need to match up together, because Kyle Lowry is earning about $30 million a year. So they're going to have to figure out a way to make that work. But on the court, as far as chemistry, I think it would be a perfect fit. And now you have in your starting 5 3 players with legitimate championship experience, but not experience, exclusively from one another. They gained that experience together on the court, because these guys were part of that starting 5 that won the championship for the Toronto Raptors just 2 years ago. So for me, I think if they were able to pull off this trade and get Kyle Lowry to the Clippers, I definitely think that it would make the Clippers the Toronto Raptors of the Western Conference, because basically they would have the key players that they had when they won the NBA title. So what I want to know from you guys is, how do you think this will fit? And do you agree with me? Do you think they would make the Clippers the Toronto of the West, or do you think otherwise? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day, and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.